So as I said, I had a crisis of conscience back in the 80s. I didn't go to law school to send players down the road to dementia, and I think that the whole concept of an agent role just being putting more dollars into the bank book of a player without also considering long-term health is not really fulfilling the fiduciary responsibility. And so we've had like 25, 30 panels on this, done a whole lot. But last week I set up the Leigh Steinberg Concussion Foundation, which is a 501(c)(3). And the goal is to raise funding for research that will help in solution, and also to put aside funds to help at-risk or underserved kids or communities that don't get access to brain health. So we have 12 doctors on an advisory board. We're still building out the other athletic committee, but we have people like Warren Moon and Earl Campbell who are going to sit on that board, and I'll wrangle some more people here today. But the goal is to try to continue to revolutionize a step forward in brain health. And it's LeighSteinbergFoundation.org. So I used to say I don't like asking people for money, but then someone said, "What do you do for a living?" So at any rate, I've been using neurofeedback from a really cutting-edge company, IQ Mind, and you heard Katerina up here talking about it, but they are expanding the frontier of accessibility to brain health, which can be done once we validate in sports that there are ways to cure brain problems, and that then we can take it out to more general market. And if we can heal the people in sports, we can heal the people in the larger community. And I hope you'll get a chance to talk to all of the people here from IQ Mind and go to their booth, because I believe in them and I think they're really unique. I want to thank all of you who came today for the Brain Health Summit. We've got another hour to go in our Brain Health Summit, but you're all part of the solution. And to be in a room filled with people who actually care and are part of the solution, as you go around the party today, you'll see different sponsors that we have, all of whom have ways of tackling these problems. Some of them have commercial products in other areas, but try to visit all the booths and inform yourself. So we throw this party to have a good time, but we also throw this party to educate people, and we throw this party to advance the right causes that help people.
Thank you. I would now like to call up our second panel. I'm going to introduce the moderator, and then she'll take over. So please welcome Dr. Brook Choulet, the performance psychiatrist. She's the founder and CEO of the Choulet Performance Psychiatry, president of the American Board of Sports and Performance Psychiatry, and a mental health expert. As a concierge sports and performance psychiatrist, she specializes in working with high-achieving executives, athletes, professionals, and their families to optimize their mental health and enhance performance in all areas of life. Brook, take it away.
Sure. Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here. Please find a seat, get comfortable. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today at the Leigh Steinberg Super Bowl party. And I believe that Dr. Nicole said this is the first year that we're doing a second panel, so I'm really excited to be a part of it. And we're at a really pivotal moment in healthcare where cutting-edge research, technology, and interdisciplinary collaboration are really redefining what's possible in medicine, performance, and longevity. Today's panel brings together some of the most brilliant minds in neuroscience, sports medicine, mental health, AI, and biotechnology leaders who are not just shaping the future of healthcare, but actively disrupting it for the better. We have 5 distinguished panelists with us today, each of whom have made groundbreaking contributions in their respective fields, and I'll introduce each one of them briefly before diving into our discussion. Dr. Stephen Shaya is an esteemed medical professional and executive whose career is deeply rooted in service and leadership. As the executive servant leader at J&B Medical and managing director of Akkad Holdings, Dr. Shaya has led numerous global health initiatives, earning multiple prestigious awards for his significant contributions to healthcare and community service. Dr. Komal Ashraf is a neurologist with specialty areas in concussion, sports neurology, headaches, and epilepsy, and has practiced in the mid-Missouri for almost a decade, which shout out because I went to UMKC School of Medicine in Kansas City, so we have that in common. At the University of Missouri-Columbia, she is a clinical educator, administrator, scientist, and she holds several leadership roles, including in marketing, advocacy work, and is medical director of the nationally recognized Concussion program and has developed robust regional connections. Next up, we have Derek Duchesne. He is fascinating. He's the founder and CEO of Better You, a telehealth company born from his personal battle with depression and mission to prevent suicide. After experiencing the life-changing effects of ketamine, therapy in 2019, he partnered with leading experts from Stanford, Harvard, and Johns Hopkins to expand access to breakthrough mental health treatments, facilitating over 200,000 psychedelic therapy sessions across 35 states. Better You integrates holistic psychiatry, psychotherapy, functional medicine, peptides, and psychedelic-assisted treatments to enhance brain function and performance. Next up, we have Jasmine Smith, CEO of Rejuve.AI, which is leading a global movement in decentralized science for longevity research. With a background in health information management and informatics, Jasmine's early involvement in SingularityNet led her to Rejuve.AI, where she's building an empowering platform centered on data ownership and diverse global participation. Rejuve.AI unites experts and communities to develop AI-driven health optimization tools and expand access to advanced therapies, advancing the future of personalized wellness. And last but certainly not least is Dr. Ryan D'Arcy, the co-founder, president, and chief scientific officer of HealthTech Connex. That's a lot of titles. Ryan is a neuroscientist and neurotechnology entrepreneur. He has a number of TED Talks you can find online. NeuroCatch will be on display in the Brain Health Lounge and live later in the programming to show the true power of music on the mind. So let's get started. So Dr. Shaya, your work spans a global scale, integrating technology, medicine, and leadership. From your perspective, what are some of the most pressing gaps in healthcare innovation today, and how do we even start to solve them?
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank Dr. Nicole and Leigh for putting on this event. I wanted to thank my fellow panelists, NFL Alumni Health, and I especially wanted to thank my mother who allowed me to come this weekend. Thank you, Mom. I love you, and I hope someone's recording this. So, our world is changing rapidly. Visa in 2023 did $36.8 billion, and they own no banks. Expedia did $12.8 billion. They own no hotels. Spotify made $14.3 billion. They don't own any music. And Lyft made $4.4 billion, and they own no cars. U.S. healthcare today is $4.9 trillion. It's the third largest economy in the world. By 2030, it's going to be $6.9 trillion, and some people legitimately could add food and climate. It's $11 trillion. Many people have thought in the past that U.S. healthcare is immune to disruption because it's healthcare and things move slowly. Well, that is no longer true. I think the first thing that you have to do is embrace change, a mindset that things are changing. The Fortune 500 since 1950, there's only 52 companies today that are still on the Fortune 500 list. There's out of the companies that have lasted more than 100 years, there's only 1,000 companies. By 2030, the average corporate life expectancy on the Fortune 500 is only going to be 15 years. So the first thing you have to do is, just because we're in healthcare, you have to embrace innovation. You cannot just be a checkbox. If you embrace it, you're going to thrive, and if you don't, it's going to be a struggle to survive. The second thing is perspective. One thing we learned during COVID, the world's more connected now than it's ever been. If we're good here in the U.S. and we're not good in other places, we're not good. The health disparities is something that we really have to embrace, and also look at it as not only moral opportunities, but business opportunities as well. Elon Musk is talking about a train taking 54 minutes from London to New York. What do you think the future holds with people going back and forth? And the third thing I think we have to look at and never forget being in healthcare is purpose. Someone mentioned on this panel earlier, well, sports brings us together and politics divides us. Well, healthcare, there's an opportunity to bring people together as well. By providing affordable and accessible healthcare, we can cross the difficult religious, political, and socioeconomic divide. We have to keep the care in healthcare. We have to keep the human back in humanity. And Margaret Mead said it best, never forget that a bunch of thoughtful, committed people could change the world. That's the only thing that ever has. And I think those are the opportunities we have in healthcare, and those are the three things we need to embrace moving forward.
Absolutely, and I love what you said about staying adaptive and innovative, because if you're stuck in your ways and you're stuck in the past, you're moving too slowly. So I love that. Now, Dr. Ashraf, as a neurologist specializing in concussions and brain health, you really emphasize strength training and post-TBI imaging in recovery. So how do you, and I know you have a background in fitness as well, and I'd love for you to share that, but how do you see fitness and neuroscience really converging to advance brain resilience and athlete recovery?
Well, thank you, Leigh and Dr. Roberts, Nicole, for having us and helping to organize this wonderful event. It's a privilege to be part of this panel. You definitely set the bar up for energy, so I'm just going to try to soak that in. Thank you for your question, Brook. I think that fitness has a great role in brain resiliency, and I think it's so multifaceted. And yes, I do have a very personal connection with my own personal fitness and advocating for that in my patients and my family and friends as well. I'm competitive power lifter in Missouri and have certain world goals for that. But aside from that, I also recognize that fitness, especially competitive fitness, helps people to develop so many parts of their brain and their body. So we know the basic things. We know that fitness helps with insulin resilience and insulin resistance, and we know that it decreases inflammation and heart health. There was a question at the end of last panel about how do we connect all the aspects of the brain and the body for these players. And I think that fitness really helps to bring everybody and all of those different parts together. We know that heart health affects brain health, and brain health affects heart health. We know that joints and musculoskeletal system is also deeply connected to the vascular system and brain and those synapses firing and the neuromuscular connections. So all the tissues and muscles and bones all working together. So those are a little bit more of the obvious physiologic things. Then if we think about the brain itself, the frontal lobe, an athlete at any level, student athlete to a pro athlete, has to master, has to master the art of decision making and being coachable and teachable, adversity and coping with failure, planning through challenges. That's all executive functioning of the frontal lobes of the brain. And I think that all of those together help with allowing for brain and mental resilience and connecting all of the different aspects of the body to help a player or even a general population person who's prone to head injuries or even recover from a head injury. So I think in general, it helps with a more preventative, resilient brain, as well as recovering after a head injury. So Hope that answered your question.
And just curious, did you get into your own personal fitness journey after you started this work, or was that a motivation to get into this work?
I think this work is the blend of both very dear passions of mine, fitness and brains, and so I think concussion space is perfect for that. I'm also an epileptologist, so we had discussion about EEG and synapses and firing of the brain, so I've always kind of been interested in that, and even in my younger years dabbled in other sports as well. But sports performance is really important, and all of those aspects that we're talking about helps with producing a more well-rounded, holistic athlete.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And now, Derek, I was so excited to see you on this panel. I had the great fortune of meeting you in Phoenix when we were both at a Suns game. But you bring such passion to the work that you do. And at Better you have really integrated psychedelics with functional medicine, psychiatry, and brought all those things together in a really approachable way. So where do you see the greatest opportunities for expanding access to transformative mental health care, and what challenges do you think are still out there?
Thank you, and yes, it's great to see you again, and very happy to be here. And thank you to Leigh again for bringing such attention to these important matters, and to Nicole for putting this on. I think that the biggest, we'll start with the biggest challenge, and the biggest challenge, especially in sports and high performers, is the stigma. And when you have everybody that's here at this event and here at the Super Bowl, whether you're playing in it or the guy at the ticket counter or the person setting up this booth, we're all human and we all have a mental health journey. And for athletes, and especially anybody at the peak or the pinnacle of human performance, it's important for us to normalize it, to understand that it's not if, it's when. We all will suffer. Professional athletes, I think it's like 37 or 40% of people that are professional sports will suffer from burnout, will suffer from depression, and letting them know that it's okay to not be okay. When you're drafted out or you're injured and your entire identity is shifting, the way that the world views you, the way that you view yourself, that there is mental health support and there are resources. And I think so much of mental health, I know so much of mental health is incredibly archaic. A lot of the times, like myself personally, when I was going through the darkest chapter of my life, I went through the traditional route, and for a lot of people, SSRIs can be helpful. For me, it made me suicidal, or exasperated my depression, and giving people the options that here's 10 things that may work, and now let's work through a process of elimination. Let's look at things holistically. We ask all of our patients to read Spark, and which is a phenomenal book around exercise and neuroplasticity. So, for example, ketamine therapy is something that can increase neuroplasticity and change our perspective, and exercise can also do the same thing. Breath work can do the same thing. Talking about sleep and the importance of that on the panel before, and looking at all of this as a whole. And together as a community, giving the options where accessible care and not a one-size-fits-all. When we started Better You, it was with the goal to prevent suicide. And now we're in 35 states, and we've facilitated a couple 100,000 sessions. And really with that is we tell our team and our medical professionals to the people that are answering the phones that treat every phone call and every patient like this could be the last call that they make. And as we've expanded into research on peptide therapies to sexual health, a lot of people that are on antidepressants struggle with weight gain and sexual dysfunction, and it doesn't matter what people are coming to you for, to treat them like this could be the last call that they make. So that's the approach that we've taken, and looking to the future, I think the biggest opportunity is continuing to expand with telemedicine, right? Pre-2020, telemedicine was not accepted, and every 6 months the DEA or the different groups will come in and say, we should cut back on telemedicine. One of my dear friends' father recently had a stroke, and we went to the hospital, and in the hospital they carted in an iPad with the doctor that was at home but was able to see him then and there. So I think increased access to telemedicine and being able to continue to expand and serve underserved communities in innovation, so incredibly expensive mental health care treatments can be brought down. And over the last 5 years, we've been able to bring treatments like ketamine therapy and make it 10 times more affordable than what it was 5 years ago. So continuing to make it more accessible, more affordable, and then hopefully in the near future, more insurance coverage for mental health.
Absolutely, and one thing that keeps me passionate about mental health care is that, like you said, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. You can't just try and SSRI on everyone and expect the same result, right? So I really appreciate you sharing that, because it's true. You have to look at the whole person and all the other things that you mentioned that go into it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Jasmine, you work at the intersection of two very fascinating things, which is AI and longevity, which are really the cutting edge of healthcare right now. How can AI-powered solutions like Rejuve.AI help shift the focus of healthcare from treating diseases to proactively enhancing longevity and quality of life?
Thank you, Brook, and thanks again to Leigh and Nicole for organizing this event, and for all of you who are working to improve the cognitive health of all of the people who bring the great entertainment and awesome events like the Super Bowl that we're about to enjoy tomorrow. So AI is a hot topic right now. There's a lot of fear, a lot of excitement, and a lot of hype that comes along with it. And it's important today that everybody kind of achieves a certain level of education and literacy when it comes to artificial intelligence, what it can do, what it can't do, and what it may do in the future. One thing is certain, that when it comes to the healthcare scene, we're definitely seeing a shift from reactive to preventative, which is amazing. Even today, we're hearing a lot about alternative medicine, which before was kind of in the land of woo-woo, and we don't do that. And now it's coming into the realm of science and medicine, which is amazing. But one of the problems that actually is in that space is the lack of data. It's the fact that there haven't been established studies and clinical trials and proper protocols around how to recommend such things. And so solutions like the one that we're developing at Rejuve.AI helps to fill in those data gaps and make a more participatory environment to be able to track how these interventions are affecting different types of people based on their genetic data, based on their blood biomarkers, their lifestyle, even their personal preferences. And AI, of course, can trawl through the data at a much accelerated rate as comparison to individual humans. And AI is a powerful tool to help clinicians in their decisions, to be able to overview all of the data collectively and over different time trajectories to see, what's working, what's not, where we need to make adjustments and fine-tune, and ultimately be able to save more lives and extend our health span. One of the other major issues that we're facing in kind of this 21st century future world is that we've extended the lifespans of humans all over the world. Lifespans are, pretty much equaling out across even in the third world countries. But the thing is, we're not gaining healthy years in those years. People are spending more of their later years in sickness and in conditions that they would not like to be in. That almost makes it kind of question whether it's a worthwhile trade-off to live longer at all. And so being that, using tools like AI and all the future health tech solutions that are coming along the pipeline, we can help to optimize people at all stages of their life and health, and be able to steer people off of trajectories that are harmful and back into ones that are healthier and improve quality of life and functionality and performance and all of the things that make life kind of enjoyable and keep us wanting to live to 100 and possibly beyond.
And now, what do you say to the people that are scared of AI coming into the healthcare scene? Because I think I just saw an article that Cleveland Clinic is bringing AI nursing or something like that to their hospital. So it's coming, right? And like Dr. Shaya talked about, we have to be adaptive and flexible and really embrace some of this change because it is coming. So what do you say to the clinicians that are scared of this AI rollout in healthcare?
This kind of ties into why I kind of became or got involved in AI myself, is because, well, if there's this big, huge, massive thing that's going to transform society and the world, then I better be a part of the change. And I think that's the biggest message here, is that you definitely want to be involved and be engaged and make sure that these technologies are actually serving the populations that you're treating, but also the actual work that you're doing yourself as a clinician, and remembering that the oversight and human ingenuity powering it is just as important as the automation itself. The tools can't work if we don't have the expert opinions guiding it and leading how it works. So we definitely need our clinicians to be at the forefront of the movement and having it help you to do your job better and to care for people better.
Well, I appreciate this music coming to give us a little bit of life. Let it pass. Let the moment pass. Go ahead, Derek.
Got it. I think it's a very exciting time for AI and healthcare. So thank you for the important work that you're doing. I just recently came across a company utilizing AI to enhance their product or service. Or, for example, I think addiction medicine or talk therapy. While people will need to, the AA program is so effective because people have sponsors, right? And they have addiction, and when they're going through tough things, that they have something that's always like somebody that they can rely on and be accountable to and accountable for. And I think that that utilizing that kind of system, while at the same time taking all those notes and then providing that 24/7 support for patients, and then analyzing and giving that data back to the doctor or back to the therapist, whoever it is going to be tremendously improve patient outcomes. So thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for being patient, Dr. DRC. I love your brain socks, so I hope everyone checks them out while you're on stage. But brain health is a critical but often overlooked aspect of overall well-being. Your work with NeuroCatch and neuroplasticity is really transforming how we measure and optimize brain function. So what are the most exciting breakthroughs right now in cognitive health technology, and how do you see them being applied in the real world?
Thank you. I was just sitting there thinking, I think we're all familiar with photobombing. I think we just got music bombed. That was awesome. I think the key thing that I want to use my comments for today are, this is a panel on innovation. And I can tell you, I've been a deviant in medicine for pretty much my whole career, which makes me wildly unpopular with some people. But one of the things I love to do is I love to get in front of particularly medical audiences and say that everyone's a fan of innovation as long as we keep doing what we've always done. In general, I get like a little sparkling of laughter around that, and what I'm really trying to do is challenge everyone in the audience. You've all come, you're sitting, you're interested. I really want to challenge that you think about what is one thing that you can do that'll start to optimize that supercomputer between your ears, right? As you're sitting and listening, what's the one thing? And for me personally, I've spent a career running some of the most advanced neuroimaging labs embedded in the hospital, translating all that technology capability into improving neurology and neurosurgery and psychiatry and mental health. And I realized that as incredible and high-powered those labs are, they're completely and fundamentally disconnected from the real world right here. And in fact, it's not still controversial, I hope sometime it will be, to say that what's available to you around demystifying your brain hasn't really changed that much since the 1980s. The incredible opportunity you have today is that is now changing very rapidly. So what's happening over the sort of the course of even this conference and the years that we're living in is we're seeing tons of, you've seen with these two panels, of advances in our awareness of how to take control of your brain. But we're also bringing innovations in the technology level, and certainly that's why we have the Biotech Lounge, and that's why we'll be showing you how through technology your brain interacts with music a little later today. But the other part that I think is really cool and really innovative that I want to highlight is I'm sitting here in partnership with the NFL alumni and their brain performance and health. And what you have in this way is the innovation of moving it from a propeller head like me into someone like Al Smith, who's optimizing his brain health, right? Brad Hopkins and I are going to get up and we're going to show you that we're actually measuring performance so that when they're off the field, they can use their incredible achievement skills to change the way the game of football is played forever. Right down from the high schools to the colleges to get young athletes thinking about, you know what, I can think faster, I can optimize this performance, and I can put myself in a position where I don't have to just be scared of these scary concussion and CTE things, but I can take in charge. And I think that's what's truly innovative about today, and I think that's what's truly innovative about what Nicole and Leigh are doing, and we have to lean into this. It's so critical that we all lean into this to push the bounds of innovation so it's not just in the bastions of hospitals and universities.
I totally agree. Go ahead.
Oh, hello? Oh, thank you. Several times during this panel and the prior panel, people talked about music. So, and how music can affect the brain and health. So in the Bible, in Samuel 16, King David used to play music with his lyre to take the evil spirits from Saul. In Corinthians 14, it talks about the importance of prayer and worship and how, music and prayer go hand in hand. So there's a lot of biblical wisdom in how music can affect us. The other thing, because we're at the Jazz Museum, Secretary of State Madeleine Albright used to use jazz as a way for diplomacy. And so she used to have big jazz events, and she used to bring people in from around the world, and that was a way to kind of was a catalytic start to her diplomatic efforts. So just because music's been mentioned a few times, I wanted to mention that.
No, and I want to go back to what you said about the preventative nature really is the future. And in my work in like NBA and with some of the player associations, it's really, the landscape's changing. So like the National Basketball Player Association just launched its first partnership with Function Health, which is a digital platform that measures biomarkers and really taking a proactive preventative approach. And I agree that that's part of the future, and that's my next question for each of you while we have you here to share your knowledge is, what do you really see changing in the landscape of health innovation over the next 5 to 10 years? And we'll start at the end and come down the line.
Sure. So I'm going to try and give you 2 real-world concrete examples of things to think about. We personally stood back and said, wow, we don't even have so much as an objective and sensitive vital sign for your cognitive brain health. So one of the key things that's going to change in the next while is we're going to roll out easily accessible ways. In medicine, you cannot treat what you can't measure, so start with measurement. If you can get your blood pressure, you should be also able to find out where's your cognitive health status. The other key thing, and I love this so much, and I promise this is my last key thing for you. We're playing with the idea right now of brain coaching. And what we're doing is saying, with the NFL alumni, we want to empower retired players who know coaching to take on brain performance and brain health. And I think that's an incredibly innovative model that allows them not only to help their peers, as Janet says, Janet Marchibroda runs this, trust. They trust one another. We can put that in their hands, and then they can put that in the hands of the youth in high school and college. So those are the 2 innovative things. You cannot treat what you can't measure, so measure yourself and help football players by allowing them to be brain coaches.
It's on, okay. Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, preventative health is on the rise, which is an amazing thing. And also our personal monitoring devices and wearables. You know, most people have like a smartwatch or ring or something that they're using to track their biomarker signals. And that's only going to continue to increase. There's even digital biomarkers and algorithmic biomarkers that are starting to emerge where, you know, collections of different things can be predictive of various health outcomes and be able to detect things a lot earlier. So this is definitely something where we're going to be able to detect disease, early signs a lot faster and be able to intervene a lot quicker as well. People are also getting more empowered about their own health and being able to learn what's going wrong. I think a lot of us have, heard of or even experienced the horror story of knowing something's wrong with you and going to doctor after doctor after doctor and still going, oh, well, it's nothing showing wrong, so I guess you're fine, and then a tragedy occurs. And I think that as we continue to accelerate this measuring, and as the testing required to actually measure and the devices, the prices continue to come down, we'll have a more globally educated society on health and wellness, and the tools easily accessible and available to be able to optimize one's health, as to where something like the word longevity, which right now is kind of associated with this rich, wealthy elite class, begins to be something that's more like basic healthcare, because I feel like health and longevity actually should mean the exact same thing. And I think we're going to see a lot more of longevity being more of a basic part of healthcare.
What she said. I'm sorry, I was spinning a little bit because what you're talking about, when you go to the doctor over and over again, and you know there's something wrong, and you keep going to doctors, and they keep telling you that there's nothing wrong. From when I was about 5 years old to maybe 15, 16, I would go to doctor after doctor after doctor and specialist with my mom, and who now it's recognized as fibromyalgia. Then it was not recognized by most in the medical communities, and I'd be in the living room playing video games or doing nothing of value, and she would be washing the dishes, and I'd hear a thud in the kitchen, and I'd walk in the kitchen, and she's out cold on the floor, and ambulance would come, and we'd go to the hospital, and doctors would be like, nah, it's all in your head. It's all neurological. And that was really tough in seeing how much it affected her, how much it, in turn affected me. Maybe that pushed me into this world. I don't know. So being able to measure these things, and if you can't measure it, you can't manage it, right? So looking to the future, I think those are incredibly exciting things that are rapidly advancing in healthcare. With the new administration, regardless of your political stance, I think that there's a lot of red tape that's going to be pulled back on. I don't know about the whole how it's going to be for overall general public health, but for what we do, and particularly with psychedelic therapies, there's a lot of promise for. When I first had ketamine therapy session in 2019, in my head, after going through a multitude of different treatments, I thought that we found the cure for suicide, and if we could reach people in their darkest moments before they make that final choice, then we can make a real impact. Looking to the future, there's tremendous evidence around our veteran community and PTSD, with athletes and PTSD, with MDMA therapy. There's an analog of LSD for dementia and Alzheimer's, and the rate at which dementia and Alzheimer's is accelerating is shocking, and a lot of that has to do with external factors. A lot of it has to do with overprescribing and overdiagnosing in the pharmaceuticals that we take. So I think there's a huge an exciting point for psychedelic therapies coming to market, and peptide therapies. So in my short stint in healthcare, I've seen over the years things that are incredibly effective for our patients and for me, and then I see them get banned. I see them get pulled off the shelves. I see Amazon no longer carrying NAC, a great antioxidant. I see peptides like CJC, ipamorelin get pulled or banned from certain states. California, lovely state for pharmacy boards. And compounding pharmacies that can make accessible medicine and make it more affordable to people. So peptide therapies now, with a lot of conversations around that, and our bodies have thousands of different peptides in them. So instead of putting these other chemicals that our bodies may or may not respond to, it's similar with cannabinoids, right? We have an endocannabinoid system. We have NAD. We have glutathione. We have all kinds of different peptides. So being able to use those therapies in conjunction and looking at things like our diet and our habits, because there's no shortcut to longevity. There's no shortcut to being happy, and these are all things that you need to work towards, and it all starts with basic habits and habit formation, and the way you sleep, when you eat, how you eat, waking up, getting sunshine, just all the necessities, sweating every day. And if you're not doing those things, you're not giving yourself a fighting chance. So I guess that's that.
I love this question, and it brings me back to I represent MU Healthcare, and our mission statement is to care, innovate, serve, and deliver. And I think that we've heard a lot about innovation, whether it's blood biomarkers to electrodiagnostics to, monitoring performance in many different ways and treatment options. I'd like to bring it back to the care and deliver part, which I think brings all of us here today, which this is innovative, right? So being here at conferences like this, because we care for the person and we care for the student, we care for the athlete and the continuum. So, I think that continuing to innovate, as Leigh is doing with the new foundation for concussion, is huge. I think also that innovating with health literacy, so making sure that we equip clinicians. You shouldn't have to go to the doctors over and over and over, hear mixed messages, but really equip people with the right counseling, with the right multidisciplinary approach, with evidence-based practice, which people much smarter than me, like Ryan and all of you, are developing all of this biotech that's really cool. And it's up to us as clinicians to deliver that and to care for the person. And I think that we have to do that in an innovative, kind of compelling, kind of patient-centered way, not a cookie-cutter, knee-jerk response. And I think that in itself is pretty innovative. So care, innovate, serve, and deliver.
Telemedicine, telehealth, video conferencing, mobile apps, sensors, AI, gifted gadgets, gifted gizmos. We're all going to be in a connected health environment moving forward. I hear about innovation all the time. You know what my definition of innovation is? It's integration. Our family of companies is going to invest billions and billions of dollars the next 5 years, and the places we want to invest in and the people we want to partner with are people understand that it's not some separate thing. They understand how to integrate these innovations into the delivery of care. They know how to align the incentives, and so that's how we look at it. One partnership that we have around mental health is with Dr. Salerno and Possibilities for Change. We're in 32 states today. We're doing mental health screenings for school children from the ages 6 through 12. We talk about brain health. Kids that have concussions, there's recent studies by the American Medical Association that shows that kids that have more than 3 concussions have greater propensity for anxiety and depression. The CDC did a study last year that said that kids that have concussions have a much higher propensity for suicidal ideation. So in places like Colorado, we're doing school screenings. 1 out of 6 children that we screen has a plan to commit suicide within the next 12 months. Using our diagnosis and screening, we're able to provide some sort of interventions, and that dramatically reduces the propensity for suicidal ideation, for depression, for anxiety. So I think there's a lot of opportunities there. I think the future of healthcare is not tech, T-E-C-H, it's tech, T-E-C-C, technology-enabled care coordination, and I think that one thing we have to realize as a society, and I always bring it back to purpose, is that the children that have undiagnosed mental health problems don't do as well academically, and their lifetime achievement is less. So identifying and treating mental health is an important long-term investment for our society.
And I want to piggyback on the word investment you just used to lead into my next question. Jasmine alluded to this as well, is we're talking about all this exciting cutting-edge technology and healthcare innovation and all these things, but oftentimes it's only rolled out to an elite group of people who can afford those services. I think about the recent whole-body MRI clinic that just opened up in my office building. Come in for $2,000 and we'll scan your body and tell you if you have something to be worried about, right? These types of things are being rolled out and available. I'm not saying that's scientifically proven to be effective, but these things are out there. And they're expensive. And how do you think we can kind of provide a solution to make some of this stuff? Because like Jasmine said, this is just healthcare. Longevity medicine should be a part of basic healthcare. So what are some of the solutions to this problem to make it more accessible to the general public? And anyone who feels passionate about it, please dive in.
I guess I can just start off, just because, I already kind of mentioned it a bit. Well, there's kind of two sides to it. There's the consumer side, and then there's the actual clinician side. So on the consumer side, for instance, projects like Rejuve.AI that we're developing, we're doing a reward system for people to basically defer the cost. So we're giving people monetary rewards in exchange for their health data that they can use to offset the cost of kind of these expensive testings and maybe even like supplements, consultations, and medical tourism, things that people wouldn't really, maybe average people wouldn't know about or even have an avenue to be able to access. And I think that more and more companies kind of diving into this space and creating innovative solutions on how to actually increase the demand for them is a key, because at the end of the day, we're still all operating on supply and demand. So the more demand that there is that these things are in the hands of everyday people, the more that the supply will have to be driven up, which drives down cost. And then there's the other side of it on the clinicians that have to be educated on longevity science and medicine, being able to deliver these and set up the proper studies and trials to be able to go out there with the evidence and say, hey, this is actually reducing the incidence of such and such disease by this %, and we need to roll this out so that we can, save cost on healthcare spending, for instance. So I think that it's just key that we continue to collaborate and get more and more data on these things, of course powered by AI as well, to be able to really deliver these solutions, because it is the ethical and right thing to do if we really are practicing healthcare.
I think this is a place where philanthropy or venture philanthropy's got to play a bigger role. Just what my esteemed colleague was talking about. Sometimes it takes a while to get the data and to prove the value proposition. And as we've seen, payers aren't going to just pay for things until it's proven. And so I think, the role of philanthropy, particularly venture philanthropy, is going to play a bigger role. The next generation of family offices, they don't want their name on buildings. They want to invest in things that are going to solve some of the world's most daunting challenges. And I think this is where family offices have to step up and say, hey, this is something that shows promise. We need to invest in this because no one else will, and no one else is going to pay for it except the privileged few. So we have to get the data and information to prove this value proposition. And I think more and more family offices have to step up with this concept of venture philanthropy to support these innovative approaches.
Go ahead. You go first. Yeah.
I would just add that as a clinician, and kind of pulling in a couple things from the last panel that Leigh said as the they, right? We're the they as clinicians, as physicians, as scientists. So trying to do something about it. Advocacy and health literacy is super important. And being able to pound the ground as a clinician with a platform, with an expertise to say, hey, there are people that need help, to compel administrators, compel politicians, whoever, to help fund important causes like what we're here for. Leigh's very innovative approach to starting a foundation, and Nicole's very foundational mission of generosity, I think really helps to make things more accessible, whether it's to build programs or get the right team together, but to really just be that front line, pound the ground, go to the right people and compel them to make accessible technology and care. And being an Iowa girl, if you build it, they will come. And so having had the opportunity to continue building a program for concussion and start one at Mizzou, we continue to pound the ground for innovation like Ryan's NeuroCatch.
Thanks, Komal. I want to jump on my definition of innovation, which is shit disturb with a purpose. And I think it's hard work. I know I actually know the guy who co-founded the whole body MRI company, and we worked many, many years to create our NeuroCatch is, of course, I think pretty much the world's first objective portable brain scanner built off of a vital sign framework, and it's deployed now worldwide, and it's a real treat to see after all the hard work and getting through regulatory and finding clinicians to adopt it, to see it go into sub-Saharan Africa, helping children with cerebral malaria, to see it get out and help the NFL and pro sports and military. But it is the case that you just have to find where that problem is and try and find an innovative way to solve that problem. And that's really what this is all about.
Thank you all. I really appreciate your conversation today and taking the time to be here, and hopefully this was helpful to the audience, but I think this is fascinating to talk about because all this stuff is coming and we have to embrace the change and we have to stay on top of innovation. I think we have time for 2 audience questions. If anyone does have a question, raise your hand, stand up, speak out. Otherwise, we'll thank you for your time. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. And thank you to Leigh and Dr. Roberts for organizing this.